This week, Democrats in the House are beginning the committee process for a bill they're saying is their party's signature priority for this Congress, their signature priority. They're so focused on this legislation that they've given it the ceremonial designation of H.R. 1, their top priority. I think it's more accurately could be described another way: the Democratic Politician Protection Act. Mr. President, this sprawling proposal, comprehensive proposal, is basically the far left's entire Christmas wish list where our nation's political process is concerned. What would it do? It would pile new Washington-focused regulations onto virtually every aspect of how politicians are elected and what Americans can say about them. So my Democratic friends have already tried to market this unprecedented intrusion with all the predictable cliches. Restoring democracy for the people. Really? The only common motivation running through the whole proposal seems to be this: Democrats searching for ways to give Washington politicians more control over what Americans say about them and how they get elected. It's an attempt to rewrite the rules of American politics in order to benefit one side over the other. I expect I'll be talking about the Democratic Politician Protection Act here on the floor for a long time. But I wanted to just take a few minutes today to give my colleagues a quick tour, just a quick tour through a few of its components. So to begin with, Mr. President, Democrats want to make the Federal Elections Commission a partisan institution. Since Watergate, the FEC has been a six-member body. Neither party gets more than 3 seats. Neither party. After all, the reason for that is this is a commission with the sensitive duty of regulating America's speech, Americans' speech about politics and campaigns themselves. The FEC should not be a weapon that one political party can wield against its rivals. But the legislation that Democrats are moving through committee would throw away the bipartisan split. It would reduce the FEC to a 5-member body. And listen to this: let sitting presidents pick the majority. Let sitting presidents pick the majority. Obviously, this is a recipe for turning the FEC into a partisan weapon. Democrats also empower the newly partisan FEC to regulate more of what Americans can say. That 3-2 FEC would get to determine what they subjectively see as, quote, campaign-related, a new vague category of regulated speech. There'd also be new latitude to decide when a nonprofit's speech has crossed that same fuzzy line and subsequently force the publication of the group's private supporters. All this appears to be custom-built to chill the exercise of the First Amendment and give federal bureaucrats and the waiting left-wing mob a clearer idea of just who to intimidate. And this just scratches the surface of this proposal. House Democrats are also eyeing an expensive new set of taxpayer subsidies for political campaign consultants. They want a new 6-fold government match for certain types of political contributions, a new federally funded voucher program to line politicians' pockets with even more taxpayer dollars. Plus, listen to this, Mr. President, that wasn't enough, taking our tax money to spend on attack ads and bumper strips and the like. Listen to this, 6 additional days of paid vacation for any federal bureaucrat who decides they'd like to hover around a polling place while Americans cast ballots. So the new taxpayer subsidies don't even pass the laugh test. But other aspects of the bill are even more disturbing. Perhaps Most worrisome of all is the unprecedented proposal to federalize our elections, giving Washington politicians even more control over who gets to come here in the first place. Hundreds, literally hundreds of pages are dedicated to telling states how to run their elections, from when and where they must take place, to the procedures they have to follow, to the machines they have to use. Democrats want to import the inefficiencies of state and federal bureaucracy to ballot boxes and voter rolls, while making it harder for states and localities to clean inaccurate data off the voter rolls. Harder to remove duplicate registrations, ineligible voters, and other errors. Harder to check every box Washington Democrats demand before allowing you to pick your representatives. Provision after provision would make it easier for campaign lawyers to take advantage of disorganization, chaos, and confusion. Yet the proposal, Mr. President, does practically nothing to combat the real live voter fraud that does happen right before our eyes. It is suspiciously silent on the murky ballot harvesting practices that recently threw North Carolina's 9th Congressional District into total chaos. Pages and pages rewriting election law, but nothing on this actual problem? Well, perhaps because similar practices are perfectly legal in California. Perfectly legal. Where the Democratic Party made big gains in the House just last November. So like I said, Mr. President, this has just been an introductory tour I'm giving this morning. Just an introductory tour. This sprawling power grab clocks in at 570 pages. 570 pages. Seemingly every one of these pages is filled with some effort to rewrite the rules to favor the Democrats and their friends. I'd have to say this, our colleagues across the Capitol know what they're after. They know what they're after. So I'm going to continue to shed light on these far-left proposals many mornings, because I want to make sure the American people understand what this is all about. And I want to assure the American people right from the outset, my colleagues and I will fight to prevent this one-sided power grab. It may pass the House, but not the Senate.